Hey there, guys. Jason Wright from Essential Property Management. And today I'm here with Patrick White from RAMS at Salisbury. How are you, mate?
Hey, Jason. Very well, thank you, mate. How are
That's
you?
good. Yeah, really good. Thanks. Thanks for joining me. Today, I try and do some educational videos every now and again. And today I thought I'd do one for the sake of our tenants more so than our landlords. So thanks for joining me. The purpose of today,
Thank you for having me.
obviously, yeah, mate, there's lots of misconception. You know, the media is having a real field day at the moment about how hard it is to get into the housing market. And I know plenty of our tenants are in situations where they're saving themselves and they just might be a bit closer than they think they are. So I thought I'd touch base with you today because you guys have got a couple of offers and it's a lot easier sometimes, or they might be a bit closer than they thought. So I thought I'd catch up. So thanks, mate. What have you got to say?
Thank you very much, Jason. Exactly right. Obviously, in the market that we're in, you hear a lot about from the media, doom and gloom and around, how hard it is to purchase a property for the first time, and obviously interest rates rising and things like that as well. There's no doubt that interest rate rising does have an effect on the customer and their borrowing capacity. But the reality is, if you've got that capacity to borrow, we want to make sure that you are well prepared to be able to get into your first home as a first home buyer and get you those first couple of steps forward so you're in a position to do so, hopefully sooner rather than later. What we find is a lot of people, aren't sure about how much deposit they actually need. They might think it's a lot more because you do hear a lot of the time you have to have 20% of the purchase price. That's not true. Obviously, if you don't have 20%, there may be some extra lender's mortgage insurance applicable. However, if that helps you get into your first home sooner, and you can put your rent money towards your own home, then it's obviously going to benefit you and your family, certainly. So I just wanted to speak to you and your tenants about a current RAMS offer that we've got to help people in that exact situation who may be saving for the first time, or maybe at the start of that process as well, and want to find out, where do I need to go? How much money do I need to be realistically looking to purchase my first property, or even buy land and then build? So currently, RAMS is doing a $5,000 lender's mortgage insurance contribution for first home buyers. And what that means is, if you don't have 20% deposit saved for the property, we can lend up to 95% of the property value, inclusive of LMI, and RAMS will pay $5,000 towards that premium. So with this offer, it is still in conjunction with the first home owners grant from the state government. So, for instance, if any of you guys are looking to buy a block of land and then build, you're still able to access the first home owners grant from the government, which at this current stage is $15,000 for a build property. Or, of course, if you're lucky enough to find a property that is new and hasn't been lived in, you can access that grant as well, under $575,000 value. But this offer is in conjunction with the offer that we're doing. In your experience, Jason, what sort of figures do you hear about minimum deposits required and things like that? Because I'm sure you obviously deal with it quite a bit.
Well, look, fortunately, I know enough that I do know it's like around 5%. And I think you touched on something really important, because what is true in the media right now is the market has boomed in the last 18 to 24 months. And the reason I thought I'd bring you on today was because people are so worried about that 20%, whereas for the most part, stamp duty's around 5% and a deposit's around 5%. So they really can get in the market for about 10%, less the $5,000 that you guys are prepared to contribute. And my argument is, if they do that before the next boom, they're still better off. They're still better off. And in a couple of years' time, I've got a mate who bought his first house at the beginning of COVID, and he got his parents' help with a guarantor, and we can talk about that another time, different thing for today's combo. But same scenario, less than 2 years later, he's already refinanced and got his parents off the title just because of the equity raised during that period. But like I said, you know, if we use the ballpark, for the most part, my tenants are paying somewhere around $450 a week. And guys, I know some of you are a bit less than that, some of you are a bit more than that, but they're around the $450 a week, which would allow them to purchase something around the 400,000, right? And like you say, that means they need 35, 40 grand for an established house. And for a build, it's probably reasonably less than that because they only pay stamps on land. I think people are closer than they think they are. So that was the purpose of today.
Exactly. And I think, you know, even if you don't have access to a family guarantor, if you're going to be having to pay some lendings, mortgage insurance, what we've seen in the last 2 years, and of course what you've seen is, you know, if someone's having to pay, let's say, 20 grand worth of lender's mortgage insurance, but in 2 years or even less, their property goes up $150,000. Well, they've acted sooner. They've had to pay an upfront fee to access the property, but they're much better off in the long run, which is really what we want to encourage people to do. Now, obviously, buying an established home is going to cost you a little bit more, and due to the fact that you're paying stamp duty on the whole purchase price and you're not able to access the $15,000 first home owners grant. But as a ballpark figure, as you say, we've got a costings around the 400,000 for a land worth about 180 grand, a build worth 220 grand. With our offer, you're looking at about a $23,000 deposit. So, you know, if you really put your mind to it and work towards that deposit, I think it's a really great goal to have in mind. And if you can help your tenants and we can help them, you know, move towards that goal of owning their own house sooner rather than later, I guess that's mainly the purpose of this call and meeting, to, you know, encourage them to reach out if they have any questions to either myself or to you, Jason.
Yeah, and let's say, mate, they've only got 12, 13,000 saved at the minute. Are you still happy to meet with them? Because I quite often find meeting with you and putting a plan in place for 6, 8, 12, 24 months down the track gives them that, gets them a bit more serious. So are you happy to do that?
Yeah, most definitely. So obviously we're not far away from Essential Property Management at Mawson Lakes. We're based at Salisbury Highway on the corner of Waterloo Corner Road and Salisbury Highway. So we've got the office here, but I'm on the road a fair bit. So more than happy to come out and meet tenants, whether that's at their workplace or at home if necessary. A lot of this stuff these days is quite flexible with, you know, communication with video and phone calls, emails, but more than happy to sit down and go through that initial process to really solidify what we want to do for them and make it a lot easier for them to understand where they're at.
Cool. So if any of our tenants, if anything resonates with them today, what's the next step? Should they call you, email you?
Most certainly.
What would you prefer?
Send me an email if you prefer to do that. So my email is patrick_white@rams.com.au, or even just give me a phone call, 0488 673 892. I'll flick through an email with those details as well. And, you know, if you're at this very initial stage and you haven't even started saving, or, you know, you are at that 10 to 20 grand mark and you're looking to see what the next steps are, I'd really love to chat and help you out individually. Okay, fantastic. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate your time today. Really appreciate it, Jason, and have a great day, and we'll speak to you soon, maybe next week, regarding family guarantors and that process as well. Sure. Hey, and just before I do let you go, do they need to let you know that they're already a tenant of ours, or that'll come up in the conversation probably anyway when you ask for a rent ledger? Most certainly, yeah. So let me know if they do call through. Let me know, obviously, that they're a tenant of Jason's, just so we can keep track of that you know, relationship, and make sure we are all over that as well. And I'll keep Jason informed as well, which is great.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Have a good day.
Thanks, Jason.